Ladies and gentlemen, boys and the girls, welcome to another video for Collecting Weekly. My name is Zach, and today we're talking about a figure that I think has caused a tremendous amount of controversy within the community. I'm not quite sure that it is all deserved, but I've seen so many collectors disappointed lately, and other collectors, I've seen collectors that are disappointed in Sideshow and Hot Toys. I've seen just a really terrible bit of behavior lately, and I kind of want to talk about it because I think it is important to address. Now, the figure that I'm talking about is Hot Toys by Crosshair. Now, this one obviously is a figure that is a member of an ensemble team. You have Hunter and Echo, which were released pretty early. Crosshair came shortly after them, and at that point, it seemed like we were just going to get those three figures. Kind of out of nowhere, Hot Toys announced Wrecker and Tech, and I think that all kind of caused everything to get a bit wonky. But let's take a look here. So, Crosshair was announced during the week of October, mid October 2022, and again, very exciting. The fact that the Bad Batch was, I think, at that point halfway fulfilled, and we were really happy with it. The figure looked great, and for several months, everyone that wanted one had plenty of time and opportunity to order one. Now, on April 27th, so this is October to November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months and change later, Crosshair was waitlisted. Now, obviously, as mentioned, the big change was kind of out of the blue. Hot Toys had put up Tech and Wrecker. We had seen them during some of their sort of Sideshow Con at home events as early as March 7th, 2023, which was when we started seeing both of these characters. And then again, we would see them during their different events where they had them on display. So again, about 6 months to pre-order. And during that time, anyone that was collecting that had any sort of interest in this figure had all the time of the world. And in theory, you had from March 7th, 2023 to April 27th, which is about a month and 20 days. So there was quite some time there to put this figure on pre-order. Now, a few, I think it was last year or maybe a year and a half ago, Sideshow had started to say that, hey, these things are going to start selling out, and when they do, you will have to pay these sort of aftermarket prices. I don't know that a lot of people, myself included, really believe that at first, but if you go to Sideshow's website and you look at the Hot Toys section, there are, I believe, more figures that are sold out or waitlisted than those that are not. So this is certainly excuse me, this is certainly a thing that we all have to contend with now. And while I do think the market for collectibles, and specifically for Hot Toys, is quite complex, most figures these days, just with the way that the world is kind of going right now, do not sell for more than what they retailed for. There are a fair few figures lately in our Gandalf, also obviously Hot Toys Crosshair, excuse me, that, I mean, they are incredibly expensive to buy on the secondary market. Looking here, we have some eBay pricings, 895, 790, 960, 1300 best offer, 850, 500. This is a figure that is very expensive. And I think it's really brought out some things that I don't love, to be honest. I know Lane, our good friend, was selling one for a fairly decent price. I think it was 800, and there were other collectors this week also trying to sell it for 800, which is below, I think, historically what he's been going for lately on eBay, and just some really smart ass comments, to be honest. And I think we have to realize, like, hey, we are collecting high end collectibles, and though historically they have not often held their value, every once in a while, some of them do hold value and they do gain value. In the past, we had figures like the Mark 46 and the Mark 47. The Mark 47 in particular That one was, I want to say it got as high as like $1,200, $1,300, and then Hot Toys reissued it. And there are a number of other figures in the past that did get reissued, and I kind of wonder if that's something that Hot Toys has to consider here. If they're seeing collectors fighting over paying $800, $900 for a Crosshair, if a reissue or a different version of the character might be an option. Obviously, we have the Bad Batch Crosshair. They could, in theory, make a Clone Wars Crosshair, which I think would be kind of cheeky, but it's Hot Toys, so I wouldn't be surprised. They could also give us the Imperial Crosshair, which is a obviously a big part of the Bad Batch series. Um, I don't personally know how much remaking this as the Imperial Crosshair would affect the value of the standard Crosshair. This is a problem that also happened with the Black Series figures, where for the longest time we had Hunter and Crosshair, and it took them a while to get to the rest of the team. And as such, Hunter and Crosshair and Black Series, they go for quite a bit more. Where the Imperial version, you can still find that one pretty much like retail, like years later. So I don't personally think that this version of the character would impact the collectability of the first version. If you look at this figure, it's a totally different design. For those people that are fans of the Clone Wars, this isn't the look that he had in the Clone Wars. This is very much a Bad Batch specific look that that show itself has a lot of fans. I think there's also probably as many people that didn't particularly like it. So I don't think the Imperial version would affect it. And I certainly think that this may be a figure that could get a reissue in the past. But I'm curious for you guys watching if you think that would be a good thing for the hobby to get a reissue to tamp down the market, if you think it'd be a bad thing for the hobby if there was a reissue. Personally, the way I see it, I think, obviously if you're a new collector getting into this, it kind of sucks. But if you were someone that had been collecting back when this figure was first solicited, if you were someone that was collecting back in June of 2023 when it did finally release, I really don't know that you have a lot to complain about. Again, you had 6 months to order from October 2022 to April 2023. You also had that month to kind of order once Tech and Wrecker went up, which, that's still a significant amount of time. And once the figure was released for the first few weeks, I mean, he was a little expensive, but he certainly wasn't $800, $900 expensive. So I think it's an interesting figure to discuss. And one thing also that I will point out is I've seen a lot of people making allegedly fake posts about this character, asking, I would say, reasonable prices, certainly compared to $900. And I think I've seen more fake Crosshair listings in the past 2 weeks than I've seen real Crosshair listings. The biggest thing is looking at the sort of proof of ownership photos. This one here looked pretty terrible. But this guy was asking 520, and I think there were several people that were trying to PM him. So be careful, don't get burned. If you're on a group and you see someone selling one, click into their account, make sure it's a real account, make sure it has friends, make sure it has mutual friends, make sure it has a history of posting on that group. When I looked at this particular account, it was a new account. It only had about like 15 friends. It had just joined the group a few days before, and the proof of ownership, though I'm not like a Photoshop expert, I kind of know enough to know that it looked very sus. So just be careful with that. But again, to summarize, I'm curious what you guys think about the Crosshair. If you think we're going to get a 2.0 as the Imperial version, if you think we're going to get a reissue or a remake through the Bad Batch line or through the Clone Wars line. It's a very divisive figure. Lane tried to sell one, and I don't think the community liked it very much, but it's what it's going for. These are collectible figures, and sometimes it's nice that they can become collectible. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely curious to see everyone's thoughts on this one. But we love you. We'll catch you on the next episode.